Across Africa, individuals and communities face moments that sear into memory. Certain disasters, violent conflict, serious accidents, emotional abuse, and the long-shadowed effects of displacement. Now, these events trigger trauma, the body's and mind's response to experiences that shatter safety, hope, or identity. Now, back home in Nigeria, by the time a trauma victim reaches care, the damage is often deeper than the wound.
So today we explore how trauma is defined and managed, how recovery and resilience are built, and how trauma-informed care can transform both individual lives and also whole systems. Joining us is Dr. Olufemi Onasanya, clinical lead at Emergency Response Africa. Dr. Onasanya brings frontline experience in trauma systems and also passion for building trauma resilience communities. You're welcome, Doctor. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
You're an expert at emergency medicine. Now, this is the first time I'm actually learning that there is such a, what do you call it? What's it called?
Term.
Unit for medicine?
Discipline.
Discipline, thank you. She's the brilliant one.
No, I'm not. Can you not do that?
So, let's define trauma first off, because the problem is that most Nigerians do not know exactly what trauma is. They do not know how it affects you and how bad it can get. So if you'd please start from an emergency point of view.
All right, thank you very much for having me on the program this morning. It's been a pleasure to come and talk to people, especially as October is the month of Mental Awareness Month.
Yes, indeed.
So I'm actually glad that we're having this conversation and people are probably going to learn one or two things from it.
Right.
So when you talk about trauma, there are a lot of ways to talk about it. But to make it simple, it is just that thing, that incident, that occurrence that is going to take a lot from you, that if you don't do something immediately, the chances of surviving are minimal. It could be physical. It could be mental. In fact, some people will tell you they are in financial trauma. It means at that moment, they don't have enough money to actually meet their needs to actually survive. Now, let's put that into medical terms. You are going to work and something happened along the way. Maybe you had a fall or another vehicle hit you from the back. At that moment, what you are experiencing is going to be a trauma. It not necessarily mean that you may be injured, because that is the problem people have about the definition of trauma. People assume it is when you see the physical sign and you have to be taken to the hospital. Not necessarily. You being hit, your vehicle being hit behind the back, and you are not injured. But psychologically, you are. Because by the time you get to where you're actually doing your meeting, that memory is still affecting you. It's still there. And it's going to probably distort everything that is going to happen to you that day. So that's in long shot. Short word is what trauma is all about.
So is it necessarily only just an accident? Could it be just an occurrence that, it could be anything?
Could it be a bad experience with a Lagos man?
Yeah, she has that problem too.
Lagos man.
Is our theme for today.
That's my theme for today. It's a joke. It's a running joke we've been going around.
No problem.
So what must we know when it comes to, let me use the word, first aid for trauma?
That's good. Well, let me start it like this. Nigeria is a country where we really do not place more emphasis on
first aid.
Because ideally, first aid should be a course or a part of the curriculum from the primary school up to the university level. Because you see, emergency will never tell you I'm coming at this time. It can come anytime. And it is expected that you are prepared to attend to it. But if you don't have the knowledge, the first thing you know how to do is to pick your phone. And you know the funny thing, Nigerians don't pick up their phone to actually call the hospital or call for an ambulance.
Take a picture.
We call our friends, or at work, you call your pastor. Your wife is in labor, seriously having labor pain. You know the first thing to do is to get an ambulance and get your wife to the nearest hospital as soon as possible. But the first thing we are doing is calling either the malam or the pastor to start praying.
I call my mother. What do I do?
Is your mom a doctor?
I know.
Is your mom a nurse?
Exactly.
Do you get the picture now?
Yeah.
Now, first aid is something that should be made compulsory for all Nigerians. So far, you have the acumen to understand what is being taught. Okay. Because it is only when you have the knowledge, you will be able to actually respond to emergencies. It's not necessarily for you. It could be for other people near you. It could be for your wife. It could be for your husband. It could be for your kids. It could be for your neighbor. But if the knowledge is not there, let me share a scenario. I was in a bank during the time of COVID. Now, you know this gap thing during that COVID period.
Yeah.
You have to like give like two
personal space.
Yeah, 6 meters.
Yeah, exactly. So because there was a long queue and the place was hot, this woman now had a sudden fall. There was confusion. The next thing, everybody started shouting, Jesus, Jesus. People that were bringing out olive oil to be sprinkling. I mean, even the bank officers, we were all standing up from their system and shouting, Jesus, Jesus, what are we going to do?
I wonder if it was during Ebola, what would have happened?
Exactly. What? I got there. I realized the woman was actually choking. There was something in her throat that was blocking the airway. So I was able to stand her up and actually perform the Heimlich maneuver. Yeah. Something you must learn if you take a first aid course. And well, it helped me because my number that day to see the cashier was 300 and something.
And it bumped your forward. So in that instance, and with her, she's experienced a physical injury, in quote.
Yes.
Now, what about the mental effect and the trauma that comes from after such an incident?
You see, trauma affects us all. It silences voices, distorts memories, and even kind of trap the mind in a cycle of fear and guilt.
Exactly.
That is what trauma does to us. Now, you facing the trauma does not necessarily mean you are reliving it. Because in this whole cycle of brokenness, there lies a possibility of transformation. But it depends on how you face it. But let me start from this. You see, survivor itself is often the first act of courage. It is that instinct that allows us to breathe through loss, pain, and uncertainty. But survivor alone is just living. It is endurance. You are only coping. You are only trying to survive. You are not actually facing the problem. And that's exactly what we are doing in Nigeria now. We are surviving. We are trying to cope with the situation, but we are not facing what the challenges are. To actually live and survive beyond survivor, we must learn to face the hard journey of actually facing that thing that is hurting us. Reclaim the power and be able to go on a journey of self-discovery.
We're talking about trauma, and I just remembered, let's look at conflict-torn areas in Nigeria, whether in the northeast or northwest. Or central Nigeria. I had the pleasure of sitting with an author who wrote a book which chronicles personal testimonies of those who were affected by the Boko Haram conflict from 2013. And one of those testimonies was a young lady, a woman, a mother, who shared about how she buried her daughter when the conflict had started. She buried her daughter along with food and water, a keg, and she ran away. And for months, she couldn't come back to that region because of the insurgents were already there, the bandits were there, or the Boko Haram persons were there. And so when the army finally came, months after they reclaimed that town, she had to go back and find the armies to go find where she had buried her daughter to bring the daughter. So for months, the daughter had been on the ground, in the dark, drinking rainwater, and just thinking that everybody had died. In fact, thinking she's been buried. So you can imagine that months, this was 2013, we're in 2025, and she said that when the army came and they treated her, because she was heavily malnutritioned, that was all it was. They didn't care about her mental health and the trauma that she had faced. And so it makes me wonder about first responders and what type of care is given to the front lines in those areas of conflict.
Oh, thank you very much. That's a wonderful question. I can't just try to wrap my mind around the situation.
Yeah, everyone go read it. The world was in our hands.
I just can't wrap my mind around it. Because imagine just being underground for like months.
Months.
With really nothing to survive. You don't know what is happening up there. You don't even know whether when you get up, the whole world will have collapsed and it will have been the end of the world.
Interesting.
You see, like I said from the beginning, we place more emphasis on physical injury. we neglect mental health. If I go to the hospital today, or if you come to the hospital today, the first thing I'm actually talking to you about is what are your symptoms? How may I be of help? And I'm waiting for you to tell me, doctor, I have this stomach pain. I have this. I'm not bothering about how that symptoms you are having is affecting you mentally. Mm-hmm. So basically, the training for psychological first aid is not that as widespread as normal first aid training. Mm-hmm. Even that one too is still on the low side, but now compared to psychological first aid, it's really not there. Mm. How many doctors are actually trained in the act of giving psychological first aid? Everybody is a specialist on his own field, and they are focusing on that, but nobody is thinking about what I'm saying to the patient is really affecting his or her mental health. A woman is giving birth after delivery, she doesn't want to see her kid. That is a mental health issue.
And washing and praying for her.
You understand? In the case of this lady, the first thing they should have done, apart from actually doing a physical examination to be sure everything is okay with her, is to make sure she sees a psychologist.
Mental evaluation.
It is compulsory because she's going to live with that incident for the rest of her life. You wonder how you see people out there always angry, always upset. Everything is just not okay with them. It's not them. It is what they have been through.
Oh, okay.
What about the soldiers as well who are faced with...
Exactly. I'm aware the Nigerian Army has a psychology division.
Yeah. But how armed are they? The manpower
to provide the service.
To provide the services, the manpower itself and the facilities, because I think that's where the real problem lies. Let's talk about funding, facility, training, and manpower to provide this aid.
I know in our facility, Emergency Response Africa, we provide training for psychological first aid and every other form of first aid. Mm-hmm. BLS, ACLS, and the rest of it. We do all that in our facility. But like you said, it's a matter of money. How many people can actually afford to come and get this certificate? Mm. To be able to know how to do this training? Mm. I know Nigerian Army partners with private organizations who are psychologists, psychiatrists who actually talk to their officers, especially if they have witnessed war. I am aware of that. It's possible. But how readily available is this service to these people? Is it at the point when they have actually gone through this trauma and they have reached the point of no return that you get to them? Because normally, you can just imagine the trauma of war. You are killing people and you are about to be killed because people are shooting at you, you are shooting at them. And you escape. That thing will always live with you forever.
So now what about the people, these communities that are saved from these bandits? Does the government owe them emergency first aid? Does it owe them evaluation?
The government owes us everything.
So what kind of government, what suggestion would you give to them when it comes to whole communities that might be experiencing trauma?
The government owes us everything. If they have done the right thing, there won't be war in any community. That is one. So, and if there is war, it is now the duty of the government to ensure that whoever, all the actors, whether they are the victims or they are the people doing the killing, everybody must be subjected to psychological first aid treatment immediately after the episode. It is normal. It is the ideal thing to do. But like I said, because we don't lay emphasis on mental health in this part of the world, nobody thinks about it. In as much as you are waking up every day and you are coming to work and your boss is seeing you that you are coming to work, that is what they care about.
So I have to talk about the cultural implications of trauma.
Yeah.
And the stigmatization of trauma. Yes. Because every trauma patient gets to a breaking point. You know, whether medically or psychologically, they get to a breaking point. And that breaking point oftentimes is a breakdown, a mental health breakdown. And then they are now being deemed as a mad person. You know, and so let's talk about the stigma and the cultural implications of it and how best we can educate our viewers that trauma is not, it's a medical condition and they can get help instead of religion.
Before I answer your question, I'm going to ask you a question too.
Yes, sir.
What do you see as a madman?
Oh, I don't see a madman. I see someone who needs medical attention.
No. We are trying to be plain here now. You get to see that person walking on the streets,
right,
dressed abnormally, speaking to himself.
Right.
There's a range of things he could be going through.
Yeah,
Schizophrenia.
it could be,
That's the person you probably are going to see as a mad person.
Schizophrenia.
Do you get
a lot of that.
schizophrenia, depression, and the rest of it?
Depression as well.
But if you don't actually know the signs you are looking for,
Just a general term applied.
it's just a general term.
Yeah, so hence the cultural stigma. Yeah.
The person sitting beside you in the office may be going through mental issue and you don't know. Because, okay, this person has always been active every day. Then all of a sudden, the person is keeping to themselves. As soon as it is 4 o'clock, they're carrying their bag, they're going up. But you, that you are the friend, these are the signs you are meant to notice. I'm like, babe, what is wrong with you? Is there an issue? You see, talking about it is solution itself.
Talk to us about that.
You understand?
How does talking about
Thank you.
issues.
Talking about it is solution. By speaking up.
to who?
Yeah, but trauma also means silence.
You don't...
Because
you
some persons,
yeah,
they don't want to share their issues.
that is part
because
of the
they are
problem.
stigmatized when sharing the problem.
That's why I'm coming to that stigmatization.
Okay.
Now, you see, talking about it, irrespective of who you are talking to, your friend, you are speaking out. You are letting people know that, see, I have this problem. You already have an insight, like, I have this problem. Now you own it. It's not left for you to now determine whether you want to do something about it. And doing something about it, the first step is you talking about it to someone. You don't know who that person is. It may just be the person like, I have similar issue, and this is the person I talk to. This is one phone number you can call, and they will tell you what to do. Don't keep it to yourself. The more you keep it to yourself, the more it eats you in from inside outside. So speaking out is the first step in recovery.
So what you're saying is trauma in itself does lead to mental instability.
It
whether you
does.
like it or not. And it can get as critical as Judith has explained about people who are on the streets.
It does. And you know the funny thing about this trauma is healing is not a one-size-fits-all. It is both linear and fast. 1 second you are making progress. The next seconds is feel like you have to start from the beginning. That is how trauma is, especially mental trauma. Now, I'm talking back to stigmatization. Is there anything we don't stigmatize in this country? And that is the fear that people have about talking out. Imagine me coming to you and like, see, I've not been sleeping in the last few days. I'm thinking of ending it all. If you are not trained to handle such conversation, you are going to panic. And if you panic, you are going to speak out to people that are not meant to hear the conversation I've had with you. And the next thing, everybody will be looking at me with one corner eye. This one will soon kill himself. Please, we should not send him to the third mainland bridge to go and jump on the bridge. That is where the stigmatization is coming from.
Exactly.
At the sake of convoluting our education policy and our education curriculum, because I removed math and put it back here. Do you think that we should start adding, because I think, do you think that in destigmatizing issues like this, it means education? Should we introduce it?
I've said it from the beginning.
Should we introduce it at the primary
First
level,
aid.
secondary level, even at the workplace?
It is a must.
Do we have to wait until there is an issue where a work colleague had dropped or is choking or something before we now learn?
Or it should be part of our curriculum from the primary school upward. And every HR of every organization should have a team that they are sending for training, so that they can now be the responders in that organization. It's not just about first aid, even physical injuries. You should have people on the team, not necessarily, okay, the HSC team. The HR must have that dedicated staff that this is their work. If you have an issue, if you are whispering to me, the reason why you are not out work in 2 days, I know the people I can send you to talk to, because they have all been trained to recognize the signs. Not wait to that moment when I come to work and I'm sleeping not through and I'm not productive. We need to stop it from before it becomes something serious.
Wow.
That is what we are not doing in this part of the world.
Dr. Olufemi Onasanya, I did not think that we were going to go this in-depth into the matter, but we have, and it's been very, very, profitable. And I'm sure that a lot of people, the viewers, are taking from the conversation that we have just had to learn, and also note that it's a very important thing. Trauma cases need to be dealt with. We also need to know how to identify them and what to do as first responders in any situation that we might find it Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I've learned a lot.
And we also need to be kind as well to everyone. Be very kind. You never know what the
Nigerians are generally kind. It's just the situation we have found ourselves.
It's difficult to be kind now.
The funny thing is, by the time you diagnose every typical Nigerian, you'll be surprised that almost everybody have one mental issue.
It's stress. It's stress.
Yeah,
let's go on a short break, shall we? When we return, we change our focus. We turn our focus to Africa, and this time to Cameroon, as the country decides as they await the presidential election results. After the break, stay with us.